am having a very bad day. I am in no mood. This, today, is one of the worst days that I've had in a long time. I'm not in the mood to play with anybody.
You know, it's weeks like this week.
I'm here to tell you right now, we don't care.
Let me tell you something.
That was not what I was about to say, but I was about to say before Stephen A. so rudely interrupted me. It's weeks like this where it makes me sad. It really makes me sad. As if the pandemic going on in the world has been bad enough. The news, like with people getting laid off, like losing their jobs, with nowhere to go, it's really depressing. Now, we hear this week on what is now deemed Black Wednesday, one of the worst days, in my opinion, one of the worst days in not just WWE history, but in all of professional wrestling history. Many workers and many wrestlers were either laid off or they were quote-unquote furloughed. In other words, they're taking a long vacation until the pandemic is over. And I can't help but to think that I 50-50 on blaming Mr. McMahon, because on one hand, he's just like any other business. He's struggling. He's struggling at the moment. He's at his knees when it comes to the coronavirus pandemic. He thinks he's God, but he's not. He, on the other hand, he has all this money in the world. He has all the money in the world. He apparently has like $500 million in cash reserves and all that. And he has the television deals with Fox and NBC Universal. And he just had those television deals with FS1 and ESPN to re-air old content. And he decides to release over 40 wrestlers. And there's, as I was preparing for this show, there's at least a couple more and counting. And I know business is business, but you gotta get, Mr. McMahon has to give these guys some slack. You can also look at it as a blessing in disguise for these wrestlers, because like Vince wasn't using them in the first place. Vince was just signing them because he didn't want them to go to AEW, Impact, and all those other companies. But I'm looking at this and thinking to myself, they got that 90-day no-compete clause, and they can't find a job. The economy, there's nothing. There's nothing right now. So, this is definitely hurting. This is definitely hurting a lot of people. It's also hurting WWE. It's hurting Mr. McMahon. We're going to get into all that. We are going to get into all of that into today's DylanLasagna Live podcast. Thank you all for joining me here today. It's really been a depressing week for not just pro wrestling fans, but in general. It really sucks. It really, really sucks. I'm not gonna lie. It's like the more we hear about all this news, like as if we didn't need it to impact the pro wrestling industry, it suddenly just takes a massive hit. Now it's just like, where do we go from here? But thank you all for joining me here today. We could use more viewership, but we're gonna keep pushing forward. Make sure you got the bell icon here. Let me just check here real quick. How many of you all are in this here right now? At least I'm not shadow banned. That's good. Make sure you're all sharing this on social media with your friends and your family. Make sure you bring them all in here, because there's definitely a lot to break down with not just this Black Wednesday, which that people are dubbing, but this week in terror for WWE. It's a really dark time for the pro wrestling industry, and on top of that, Howard Finkel, one of the most well-known and most legendary ring announcers, and not just pro wrestling, but in all of sports, passed away yesterday at the age of 69. I know a lot of people that are diehard wrestling fans that grew up with him, and I got to know, at least watching him, I got to know him a little bit, and I got to see him at WrestleMania 31 with the usual Hall of Fame segment. Really, really first class kind of guy, and I'm really gonna miss him. And my thoughts and prayers go out to his close ones, his family, his friends, everyone close to Howard Finkel. But it's not a good time for WWE. But we're gonna break it all down. That's what we're largely gonna be covering here in this live podcast. I do want to cover some small things first. I want to take care of some business first, and that includes so this week's random tidbit. I do want to, before we get into the negative stuff, I want to lighten it up a bit, because I know that opener wasn't really was an opener to what's to come, what's the negative Nancy's to come. But let's at least liven it a little bit here. Let's liven it up a bit. So I was on Twitter today, as usual. That's where I get my news from Twitter. And interestingly, you know how I am with my relationship, my obsession, with a certain commentator in sports. I even made a song about this commentator, my good old friend Joe Buck. My good old friend Joe Buck was once again trending on Twitter, not because he was getting criticism or hate for commentating on a sports game or doing something stupid. No. This was something completely different. According to Jimmy Traina from Sports Illustrated, this was originally first tweeted out by Darren Rovell, and I have no idea why someone would do this, but a porn site mentioned that it would pay Joe Buck $1 million to announce its cam shows live. You heard that first. Let me pull up the tweet here. You heard that right. Where is it here? There's even an article right there. Oh god. The porn site is actually not giving up. Interesting. So here it is. Let's zoom it in right here. A porn site says it would pay Joe Buck $1 million to announce its cam shows live. The site says it is also accepting applications from other national and local sports commentators. And then here's what Joe Buck had to say in response to that. Depending on the site, they could just be handing some of my money back to me. So I'll hold out for a better offer and try to hold on to my day job. But I have to say, I'm flattered. Oh, Joe Buck, you typical jokester. I'm honestly really surprised. Like, of all things, a porn site would actually go after sports commentators. Now, apparently, from what Darren Revel tweeted out, they're also going after guys like Jim Nantz, Mike Tirico, Al freaking Michaels. I'm not sure what porn site it says here. It just says an adult website, so it could be, it could be any one of them. It's the one that you see in the memes, that are always there on Instagram. But I don't know. That was an interesting. That was an interesting like trend that started today. Like, I have no idea why a porn site would offer Joe Buck or even freaking Jim Nantz, Al Michaels. What's next? You're gonna give Chris Collinsworth that kind of money to commentate on cam shows? It's interesting. It's very odd that they would do such a thing, but yeah. That's your random tidbit of the week. Honestly, the most random one that I ever had to report this week. And in all honesty, that's like I have no fucking clue what to say about. I have no fucking clue what to say about it. Let's see here. What else do we got on the docket? All right, so let's see here. Last week I briefly mentioned at the end of the show about this controversy that's happening. The saga's pretty much over at this point, though, but I do want to make one last note of it. And it's this thing about the whole Susie Liu thing that everyone keeps talking about. I don't want to go into too much detail in it again because, for my own safety, I don't want to get struck down because I know a lot of people don't want to get struck down by talking about it, but I feel like I need to address it because not only do I feel like my kind of content, like, yes, you guys know, I occasionally do reactions now and then. Like, I don't do them as hardcore as I once did back in the summer of 2017. But I still do like watch-alongs and like reactions to the Nintendo Directs or the occasional meme or like whenever there's like a big 4 WWE pay-per-view or something. But I feel like what's going on with this thing, I need to, like, I'll get into that later, but I feel like whatever's going to happen with this Susie Liu saga, I feel like it could possibly affect the entirety of YouTube, not just the commentary community, because I feel like they're doing a great job with how they're reporting it. But I super chatted a message to another live podcast that got me into this interested into this situation last year. I asked them like if this was going to have effects on reactions and other general content. They said no, but it was up to like the companies and all that. But honestly, I do think it will, and I'll get into it in a second because I want to like delve into it a bit. So this Susie Lou thing, it's I'm gonna try to explain it as fairly as possible here, because I don't want to get struck down. But this whole thing starts. I shared these things that I'm interested in because like I don't want you guys to get hurt. But so this whole thing starts when like a YouTuber by the name of Mark After Dark uses a clip from hers, she's playing like Last Guardian VR, and Mark finds this clip of her overreacting to the game's ending. He found it really funny and decided to use it for an intro, which, by the way, I still find it to be very transformative and very funny. Like, it's like a it's like a mematic like work of the original video, but Susie found it otherwise, and she took like a year. This was a year after Mark's original video went up, so she found the video and took it down. Like, she gave it a copyright strike, and a lot of people, including Mark, were not happy about this. And personally, when I saw this situation, I was like, how is this how was this not transformative? Because that was the whole thing that was centered on fair use and making it transformative. Because like in order to use like an original work, like another work, it has to be transformative, and like it has to be critiquing something. I can't explain fair use like as well as like a John Swan could, or like a lawyer can. So go if you want to learn more about this. John Swan has a really good video on the whole situation, but I'm just trying to briefly explain here. So weeks go by. This all happened last year. This is how it all originally started. She doubles down on why she took down the video, and she even claims copyright to her face, which even I think is ridiculous because, like, look, we're all public figures when we're on YouTube, when we post a video on YouTube, even when we do this. Even when I'm hiding behind you guys, we're still a public figure. Our voice can't be copywritten. And so she claims copyright to her face. You can't do that, because this allows anyone to use your likeness. As I will give this caveat though, I'll be fair, as long as it's not seriously harmful. So weeks pass, and then this is where I actually got interested in Augie RFC's show. This is where I came across it. She appears on the After Hours podcast, and her boyfriend, who didn't really do a good job at explaining how fair use works. Hell, my instructor in my journalism class can explain fair use better than this dude can. I'm not gonna lie. So he gets on there and he's making excuses that Susie's walking the dog and all that, which I couldn't give two shits about. And then Susie suddenly jumps on 2 hours later, and then she reveals her flagging history. I actually still have it on file here. I'm not gonna. You guys can search it up. Actually, she reveals her reporting history, and it shows that it proves that she reports videos that criticize her, aka, which she would eventually admit later, she reports videos that she simply doesn't like. So that makes her out to be a massive hypocrite. I'll get into that a little bit later. And then after that situation, so that proves everyone right that Susie strikes down videos that she doesn't like. And it wasn't YouTube taking it down, which she also claimed that that's what happened, but that showing her flagging history on Augie's show proved that she was the one that did all of this. So some time passes, and nothing really happens after the whole Mark After Dark situation. Everyone moves on with their lives, and personally, I fall out of the whole situation because it's like there's nothing else to like be invested in. It's like, oh, okay, now that we reached a resolution, hopefully she realizes her mistake. But by the end of the year, which I still kind of like don't like, I'm not really too invested in the situation. She starts doing different content, and she starts doing anime reactions. I don't know when exactly she started, but from the commentary channel, she started doing this in the summer of last year. Again, I'm probably gonna be a massive hypocrite myself by saying this, but I don't see a problem with doing reactions. Again, I did reactions myself. I still do reactions to Nintendo Directs. It's what you say, like how you present them and what you say in them. And yeah, it's like all in the presentation with the reactions. Again, I'm probably gonna get a lot of flack for that too, because like I don't do shit with my reactions. But yeah, I can't really comment too much on that. The only issue I have is like with reactions these days, it's like it's censoring stuff in the original source material. That's the only issue I have with reaction content on the platform. Yeah, you guys know how I feel. If you guys are like longtime followers on my channel, it's like I like people like Charmix. I like his community, but I can speak out for like his longtime subscribers. It's like the censoring is like bullshit. Yeah, I understand like the freaking YouTube algorithm is like that. Oh, if I don't censor it, it's like it's gonna suppress the videos. It's not gonna get recommended and all that. But it can get on my nerves. It can really get on my nerves at times with the censoring. But the person itself, it's just like, it depends. Like, I'm not gonna get too much into Charmix, but he's a cool dude. Like, he's still a cool dude, even though I really don't like the censoring in his reaction videos. But I don't want to get into that right now because I want to get back onto the Susia situation, because I didn't have a problem with the anime reactions until guys like Tipster, Nick Diorio, all the guys in the commentary community were reporting things that were actually starting to get like suspect, you know? So she does the reactions, but eventually over time, until this point, it's like when the saga is at its peak, she's reacting to them like the Ashton and Johns, or like before, like pre Blasphemous HD 2.0 Charmix. Before Charmix started copying or implementing Blasphemous HD's reaction style, it's like she reacts to the anime and adds little to no insightful commentary. Now, again, I can't comment too much or not at all on this because I often fall under this trap when I'm doing like when I did the watch along to WrestleMania, when I do watch alongs to the new Nintendo Direct, so I can't comment too much on this because I'm a hypocrite for it. I'm a massive hypocrite for it. But I'll leave that to guys like John Swan and Diorio and Tipster. So I can't say too much on it. But anyway, and then oddly enough, Susie even got featured on YouTube Rewind despite her past controversies with striking down videos she simply doesn't like. We already saw that she reports videos on videos she doesn't like. It's like there's visual evidence of that. And then you also had a situation I haven't even mentioned that where she told McDonald's workers to go get a real job. This is when McDonald's workers were striking for better wages back in 2017, and she told McDonald's workers on Twitter to stop expecting handouts and go get decent jobs, and she got a lot of flack for that when she was just sitting there on her chair and playing video games on YouTube. So we get to the YouTube Rewind, and Susie's one of the very few people who, at the time, I think she had around she had just hit the 300K mark for her channel. I don't know. I'm not sure about that, but she was one of the very few prominent figures. I guarantee nobody knew who the fuck she was, but granted, I will give her props. You can't take away that she was in YouTube Rewind despite the controversies and all that, but still, it's like she was in YouTube Rewind. Yet, she had all these controversies in the past and now, and the stars kind of align that maybe there's an inside connection between her and YouTube. So now we get to the peak of this latest saga. So it was in January, at the end of the year, weeks after the YouTube Rewind, that her channel gets taken down because TV, the Japanese company that does Naruto, TV Tokyo, eventually finds out that she's improperly reacting to Naruto. Yeah. And then they put a claim, put multiple copyright claims in multiple copyright strikes, take down the channel. But 2 days later, she gets her channel back, and then sooner or later she starts doing other animes, lowering the opacity down on those videos, and trying to take the Charmix Blasphemous HD route, but she's not adding any insightful commentary. Again, I can't comment too much on that. But not only that, she's uploading unedited and unfiltered anime reactions to Patreon, and she even made her own website for these reactions for her fans. Yeah, you can't make this stuff up. Now, I will pose the question for this. It's do you guys see Blasphemous or Charmix, two of the most well-known reaction channels on YouTube? Do you see them doing this kind of shady shit? No, because they're too well respected for this shit. Now, the only shady reaction YouTubers that I could think of doing this shit is Ashton and John. Apparently they request $20 for per reaction request, which is pretty stupid, but that's the closest thing you can get. But I mean, whatever. But these are fully uncut anime episodes that she's reacting to with little to no analysis or like commentary, like such as like, oh, what if this actually happened, or why was that character doing such thing in the first place? Again, I can't comment on that too much because I don't, sometimes I don't even do those things in my reaction videos. But yeah, it's, I don't know what the hell that is, but anyway. Why do I worry about this situation so much? Why am I so concerned with this situation? Well, it's because of the fact that she continues to do this, and on top of continuing to falsely report videos, and YouTube takes it, or not, I'm sorry, let me rephrase that, and continues to report and somehow successfully, it's 50-50, take down videos criticizing her. And she claims that it's YouTube. But according to John Swan, YouTube can't get involved. YouTube can't get involved because of something called safe harbor. Oh yeah, it's right here. YouTube can't get involved in copyright decisions according to the safe harbor law. Thank you, John Swan. You helped me learn something. And then it's the fact that safe harbor, fair use and copyright cases can only be decided by a court judge. Yeah, I learned that. I also learned that the hard way when my MLP Teen Titans video was taken down by what was it? It was by a Japanese company. But anyway, that's besides the point. And not only is she only, now how am I saying this? How do I want to say this? She also making herself look like a massive hypocrite. Not only is she continuing to massively strike down videos with that criticize her, but she's committing these actions herself, or by reacting to uncut anime with little to no commentary. But again, with the McDonald's incident, and someone reported in John Swan's video back in 2016, she live streamed the BBC's coverage of the 2016 presidential election unfiltered. Now, if I remember from her first response video back in 2019, that she was doing with friends and all that. She was trying to live stream it for friends out of the country, but I think that's false. But anyway, so she continues to go after who is this? I don't know. Hold on. But I'm gonna go check on the chat as soon as I finish making my point. But the reason why I'm so concerned is that if she continues to react to these uncut animes with no commentary, along on top of YouTube letting her get away with mass striking, mass reporting, mass false flagging videos that are just criticizing her. They're not hate videos. Again, I made this mistake too. Criticism videos are just trying to call you out on your mistakes, and trying to help them fix you. And it may be a gross generalization, but that's the best way I can think of it at the moment. And hate videos are just simply like people's like emotions against you, like they're angry at you. Again, these are my like gross generalizations, but that's again, I'm tired. My brain's not working today. But anyway, if this keeps happening, then YouTube is gonna undergo another set of changes where it's not gonna be fun to use anymore. There's gonna be a lot of censorship, a lot of unfunny stuff that we can't even make the smallest of jokes anymore. And hell, if we might not even be able to do reactions anymore, because it's like, well, who knows if Susie, like, let's see, how's the best way I can put this? If someone sees like a Susie Lou do this kind of stuff, like someone that's just as ignorant as her may think that, oh, if Susie's getting away with this, then maybe we can too. It's, well, I completely disavow that, but please don't go there. But I am worried about all kinds of content on the platform because it's just something like, it's like one creator's actions could completely destroy the platform. It's like by false flagging, false reporting, and continuing to do all these illegal like video sharing. It's gonna get completely out of hand. It's gonna get completely out of hand, and if no one's gonna do something, then nobody's gonna win. But I know this saga has died down, but I really hope that she somehow wakes the fuck up and learns from her mistakes, which I highly doubt that her and her boyfriend wake the fuck up. But until then, I am really concerned about the status of YouTube, because again, if she continues to keep doing this, then it's going to have a ripple effect on YouTube, not just on commentary channels, but on reaction channels, on even gaming content. It's going to be a mess. It's going to be a mess because of how much inside power this small creator, this decently sized creator has. Again, I can't really explain this situation as well as John Swan can. So, guys, give that dude some love. He made this really nice mini documentary on the situation for those that are not as knowledgeable on like commentary stuff, but give the dude some love. It's like he even has massively great editing skills that I can never surpass. But give the dude some love. He deserves it, and he should be coming out with a part 2, a response to Susie's response to all this. But I'm excited for it. I'm really excited to see what he has to say for it. So those are my 2 cents on the situation. I think it's slightly better said than what I said last week, but yeah, again, I can't really comment too much on this situation because I don't have anything else to say about it, and I just hope that she learned, like, she has a little like reality check. But I think the only thing close to a reality check is a lawsuit, which again I don't see happening. But the one thing I will say I will disavow is people keep spamming my chat. I will disavow is people harassing her, like no creator on creator harassment, guys. It's not gonna help like people's cases, like the people like actually reporting these cases, because it's like it's gonna give her more ammunition to make like everyone talking about this look bad, really bad. So don't like swat her, don't dox her, don't like send her threatening messages like, oh, go you know what to yourself or all that. It's like, and don't flag her too. Don't do the same thing that she's doing to like people criticizing her. Don't do it. Don't do any of that. Don't do any of that, because it's only gonna make people like me trying to explain it. People like John Swan better explaining it. People like Augie explaining it. People like Tipster. People like Combat Wombat, Nick DiOrio. All those guys that are much better at explaining this than I am. That it's like don't stoop to her level. Just don't. But anyway, those are my 2 cents on the situation. And hopefully, again, I hope that she hopefully learns from like corrects her mistakes somewhat. And yeah, that's all I could say. All right. Let's move on. Let's move on from that, and I think I'm ready to move past the Suzy Lou stuff, because I'm pretty much done thinking about it at this point. As much as a lot of the commentary channels are, because it's like there's nothing else to report on it anyway. But let's get into the large meat of this topic today, or today's live podcast, shall we? Man, I honestly can't think of another like week that WWE really struggled. Now, granted, I know the whole coronavirus pandemic really affected a lot of business, and WWE, I knew, is one of them. But this week really hurt. What the hell is this? Some random spammer keeps like coming into the chat. Hang on, guys. Can't stoop to their level. But anyway, where was I? Oh yeah. It's crazy because like I haven't seen a list of wrestlers that were released like in one fell swoop. And the list is pretty insane. Not only that, it's like the changes, the events. It's like it was like a chain reaction. What the hell? I don't know. It's like, dang, what the hell is up with my chat today? But let's go over. Oh my god, who the hell is this? Who the hell is this person spamming me? I'm getting some random dude in my chat using multiple accounts to spam me. What the hell? But anyway, let's go over the list. Hopefully we don't get any more. That guy is trying to spam me. But anyway, hopefully we can get through this list. All right, here we go. The following is a list of wrestlers that were cut on Wednesday. This includes the wrestlers itself were Drake Maverick, Kurt Hawkins, the OCs, Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows, EC3, Leo Rush, Heath Slater, who the heck? Eric Young, Kurt Angle, surprisingly, Ada English, what the... There's this guy again. What the... Jeez. How many times do I have to use the report button? Ugh, great. I'm trying to see if this one dude with the multiple accounts keeps coming back. That's so fucking stupid. I never had this problem before. Damn, where's my mods when you need them? Like, hella bad. Noob, where are you? I need my mods. But anyway. Let's try to get this list. Let's try to get through this list. Okay, so we got Kurt Angle, Aiden English, Eric Rowan, the Colognes, Primo and Epico, Sarah Logan, Mike Kanellis, Maria Kanellis, Zack Ryder, No Way Jose, and the biggest one of all, Rusev. Rusev Day is officially canceled, everyone. Then you have some from NXT, Deonna Purrazzo. People were like, I know a lot of like hardcore wrestling fans were high like on Deonna Purrazzo. MJ Jenkins, Dan Matha, Alexander Jakzik. Sorry if I butchered that. And then I think I saw here that there are some additional names on here. Tino Sabatelli, Cesar Bononi. I can't with these names. I'm sorry if I'm butchering your names. Mars Wang and Tainara Conti. All right, so those are the wrestlers that were released, and there were also some producers and performance center coaches that were either furloughed. That means that they have to go on a long ass vacation. Leave of absence. And then some performance center coaches were laid off as well. Billy Kidman, Mike Rotonda, Finley. Finley was an essential part to the women's roster, the women's division. Pat Buck, I think, if I remember correctly, from Grimm, he runs Create Pro with Kurt Hawkins, and then Sean Daivari, Scott Armstrong, Sarah Stock, the Hurricane, Shane Helms, and Lance Storm. What's up, Pokemon Gamer? I'm good. I just had some random dude spam the chat with multiple counts, and it's crazy. But anyway, Performance Center coaches, Kendo Cashin, Serena Deeb. If you remember from history, Serena Deeb was part of the Straight Edge Society with CM Punk and Luke Gallows back in 2010, and then Ace Steel. So a lot of people were released today, and man, I in all honesty, guys, wait, what? The dislikes? Are the dislikes that bad? Oh, look. Oh, I guess that one dude spammed the dislike button. That's why. Yeah, that one dude with the multiple accounts spammed the dislike button. Like he had like what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 accounts that he used to spam the dislike button. Unfucking believable. He dislike bombed the stream. Unfreaking believable. Guys, I know it's a sad, depressing time, but like don't be a dick like the spammers. Like, just don't. I mean, unless if you're like a Susie Lou White Knight, like, just don't be a dick. Like, even if you're a Susie Lou White Knight, don't be a fucking dick. But anyway, back to the topic at hand. I would definitely agree with some of these, like with what you're saying, Pokemon Gamer. Some of the most shocking releases to me in this situation were Rusev. I think that was the most disappointing release for me because, you know, WWE kept pushing him down, like especially after the John Cena match at WrestleMania 31. WWE just kept pushing down Rusev further down the card. They tried to keep burying the fucker, but he found a way to get himself over with the Rusev Day gimmick. Then he added Aiden English as his manager, or as his partner, and they got themselves over with the crowd. They got it working, but then WWE completely botched the gimmick and made them heels, and now they're nothing, and people didn't care about them anymore, which sucked. And worst of all, Rusev in storyline lost Lana to Bobby Lashley. So that really sucks. And then someone said Zack Ryder. Yeah, I'm pretty surprised that Zack Ryder was still there all this time. But honestly, Zack Ryder, like, had it not been for Z True Long Island Story, I can't even pronounce the name right. His internet show back in 2011, like, WWE wouldn't have known to use social media. Like, they wouldn't have as big of a social media presence than they do today, because Zack Ryder revolutionized the social media age that WWE is in. You can also credit Zack Ryder for the Young Bucks being the elite YouTube show. Like Zack Ryder really revolutionized the social media age for pro wrestling. I do feel bad for Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows, because I know they were like high up on a lot of people in the wrestling community. Like, they were good in New Japan, but underutilized in WWE. But it's really unfortunate for them, you know. And Carl Anderson also has like a family, and now how's he gonna? I really, this is what I don't like. It's like they can't work. It's like there's no one higher, like, unless you're really lucky with AEW, but not. I don't think even AEW. This is such a sad situation. It's such a, I don't know, man. And then what else you got here? Sarah Logan. I think she had a previous gimmick before signing with WWE, but WWE never bothered to develop her. Never bothered to give her a character or expose her to the crowd. And in turn, nobody gave a shit about her. Who else is notable on here? Let's see. Eric Young. He did some decent work with Sanity, but outside of that, he I don't like all these guys. They were all signed just to keep them away from Impact, from AEW, from New Japan. They were just there to sit their ass home with a bunch of ducats. I mean, granted, now, like, they can live off those bunch of ducats, but how much of those bunch of ducats is it going to last on? But that just shows that they were hoarding talent for, like, so many months. And now both Vince and those people released are paying the price for it. It's such a... It sucks. This really sucks. Now again, with the backstage personnel, I do hope that most of them return to WWE, like with the wrestlers, but given that we're still in the middle of the pandemic and we don't know how long until things get back to normal, I just really hope that they get their jobs back. Oh yeah, and this was also a very surprising one. Mike Chioda, one of the, like, a long time referee, the longest tenured referee in WWE. Well, maybe, like, they couldn't afford to keep Chioda, but at the same time, he was working there for 30 plus years. And if he wanted to retire today, he could, but, you know, he loves his job so much, man. Chioda was part of so many good matches. Rowan saved 3 jobs by being released, and also Rowan wants to join Broad Elite. Definitely not Luke Harper. He could, but I'm not sure how it would make sense with the Dark Order. It's like, I think the Dark Order doesn't necessarily need Eric Rowan. But I really don't, like, in this state of mind, I really don't want to talk about, like, where exactly could all these wrestlers go, because it's just not appropriate right now. Speaking of inappropriate, this is such a bad time to release these guys. It's like, this is so unnecessary. It's like you're already getting the TV deals with Fox and NBC. And yes, the XFL went bankrupt. And yes, it's like you need money, but it's like you still have, like, so much money in cash reserves and so much money, like, as a whole in the stock market. But it's like you still have to support these wrestlers, you know, but I don't know. I really don't know how to feel, guys. I really don't know how to feel about this situation. And they still have the gall to produce live TV each and every week and deem themselves as essential. And funnily enough, ironically enough, let me pull it up here. You guys are unbelievable. You guys voted. I put up a poll 3 days before the podcast. Come on, damn it. I put up 3 days before the podcast. Why won't it? Oh, I'm pressing the wrong button. Duh. Come on, Dylan. I put up 3 days before the podcast that I asked this question right here. And 65% of you voted yes. Care to explain why? Do you guys care to explain why WWE is an essential business at this point? Do you see like an essential need other than, oh, we need to be entertained? Be grateful that the shows are being put on. It's like, have you even seen the shows that are being put on? Yeah, granted, they're at least putting on more matches, but it's a bunch of squashes. It feels too awkward. It's too awkward. It's like a lot of these matches like don't feel right, you know? It's like there's no emotional investment in these matches. Like you need a crowd to feed off of for a lot of these matches, a lot of these storylines, etc., etc. And I'm sorry to call out my fans on this, but you can't really consider WWE an essential business. But, you know, Linda McMahon bribed like 18 million times to have the state of Florida to have WWE be considered an essential business. And 65% of you guys voted yes, that WWE is an essential business. So I can't blame you on your opinion, but I don't know, you guys. I don't know how you could see WWE as essential. Wrestlers are at risk with doing these live shows, having to fly out each and every week. It's really disappointing where they're at. It's like now wrestlers are out of jobs. Like the remaining roster is at risk of putting themselves in danger of COVID. Like all the moves Vince is making, it's making himself look bad. It really is. But I will give him a little bit of caveat here. After I read this transcript of what he said, a courtesy of Fightful, this is what he said, and I want to get your all thoughts on this. And I quote, "Thank you all for joining me today. First and foremost, I hope that you and your families are safe. What we're going through today is unprecedented, and there's no doubt these are challenging times for everyone. Given the adverse effects of the coronavirus and the resulting financial recession, WWE, like so many companies, have to decrease operating expenses. Effective immediately, we are reducing executive and board member compensation, decreasing talent expenses, and cutting third-party staffing and consulting, and improving cash flow and delaying the production of our news headquarters for at least 6 months. Despite all these measures, given the uncertainty we're facing today, unfortunately, we have to temporarily reduce headcount. So that also means that also relates to the roster cuts. As such, a number of WWE employees, yeah, that's what I just mentioned, will be furloughed from the company today. At the close of my remarks, employees will receive a communication detailing these individual situations. More specifically, those impacted by the furloughs will receive a text message, from Human Resources with specific information for the next steps. These are not easy decisions, but reflect the reality we're working in today. We live in troubled times. I'm confident as a company, and most importantly, confident in you as individual employees. We pulled through these tough times and come back to work and make life than it's ever been before." And then it says here on Fightful that after this this press conference, it also says here that calls started going out to the release talent, letting them know that they were cut. Yeah, the more I read into this situation, the more I feel terrible for these guys, because again, WWE has like so much money invested, yet they decided to cut all these wrestlers that were just sitting at home. And they paid them a large amount of money that they just wanted to keep away from AEW. But again, here's the caveat though. It's like this just came out a couple hours ago from Ryan Satin of Pro Wrestling Sheet and WWE Backstage, because I was gonna give him a lot of like flack for going on with live shows, because Vince McMahon it's like was like in fear of not doing live shows because of the television deals with Fox and NBC, and he thought that if we don't do live shows, he's gonna get concerned that they might lose those deals, or might get a restructure, like a reduction in money from those networks. But I doubted that they would do that such a thing because of the situation at hand. And this proved my point with this WWE going with this right here. A taping schedule starting next week. So according to Ryan Satin, this is from his website. WWE is making a big adjustment to their filming schedule in an effort to increase the level of safety for performers amidst the COVID-19 pandemic. As you recall, WWE returned to live television shows from the Performance Center this week after the Florida Governor Ron DeSantis allowed sports and entertainment properties, which, by the way, I don't know what he's smoking, but that's besides the point. And entertainment properties to resume producing events in the state as long as there are no fans in attendance. Briefly on that, it's like it's gonna set up Ron DeSantis allowing sports and entertainment properties in Florida even with no fans. It sets a bad precedence, if that's a word. It sets a bad example because it would allow other sports to like the NBA and the NHL when they haven't even undergone proper testing. And we all remember how this started with Rudy Gobert testing positive for COVID. And if one player tests positive, well, we're right back to where we started. But anyway, here's how the filming schedule is going to work according to Satin. So the SmackDown, Raw, and NXT are going to air live for at least these next couple of days. Actually for the next week. And then after that, it's going to be taped. It's going to be taped going forward. So I'm going to give you guys like a laydown of like what the next couple of weeks. I'm not going to say every date because like you guys can go research this. Actually, I'm going to leave a link to the filming schedule. Okay. So here's like a couple of dates here. Saturday, April 25th. So 2 episodes of SmackDown is going to be taped. They're going to be aired May 1st and May 8th. And then you have Raw. So Raw is going to be taped as well. One for the 27th and one for May 4th. And then Wednesday, April 29th, 2 episodes of NXT are going to be taped. One for that same night and the other for May 6th. And then May 11th. So it's pretty much a rotation. It's like, it's going to be one Raw is going to be taped for that same day, and then another Raw is going to be taped for the next week. Like, so 2 Raws in one day, but one for that's going to be scheduled to air later that day, and then one for next week. So I guess it works out for each roster, I guess. But one thing that caught my eye, though, is that I don't see Money in the Bank on here. I don't see Money in the Bank on this schedule. So is that still going to go live on... Is that still going to go live on pay-per-view? I'd presume so. Because there aren't any taping dates until... Like, taping doesn't resume until May 11th for Raw. So it's interesting to note. And these tapings continue until July 1st. So we'll see how this plans out. But I like this layout a little better because it gives the wrestler, like, so at least each wrestler doesn't have to fly out each and every week for Raw and SmackDown. Now, granted, like, let's say, for example, okay, cool. So starting May 11th, they have to film Raw, and then they have to film SmackDown for that week. So pretty much, like, every week they have to film, like, an episode of Raw and SmackDown for, like, say, Monday and Tuesday. They have to film 2 episodes of Raw and SmackDown for the next 2 weeks. And then on Wednesday, it'll be NXT exclusive. So they're pretty much filming, like, 2 episodes of Raw and SmackDown every 2 weeks. For, like, each week. If that makes sense. But at least, like, they don't have to, like, the wrestlers, like, don't have to fly out every single time on a Monday night. Now, Satin also says that WWE is increasing, like, health and safety measures at the Performance Center, including requiring the use of face masks, which at this point it's a requirement everywhere. Good hygiene and hand washing for the appropriate amount of time. If I recall, this is when they're not performing or not taping. Medical screenings prior to entering any closed set. So this is not just when this is not just when entering the Performance Center. This is, like, literally any, like, I'd assume any single spot in the Performance Center. Matches done in waves. I'm not sure what that means, but we'll see, like, once Satin reports or someone else reports it. Only essential personnel on site. Adhering to social distancing outside of performances. Pandemic level cleaning and more. And then what our sources say, despite outside criticism, WWE is putting a lot of effort into mitigating risks and doing the best they can to protect people's health and safety while still keeping the business afloat amidst the pandemic. And then in this article, it also states that another WWE statement that it's now more important than ever to, like, give the people, like, some hope, and by giving product and content in WWE. Now, had WWE continued to do live shows, which they still are for at least the next week, but if they had continued doing that beyond that, I want to give them serious flack because it's going to continue to expose so many wrestlers at risk. It's like if a top star, like, let's say Matt, like, I hope it doesn't happen. Let's say McIntyre gets it, then the floodgates are going to open. It's like WWE would have to shut it down because one star already tested positive for COVID, or not a star, an on-screen talent tested positive for COVID while it was low risk, it still creates plenty of concern because again, if one person, whether it's a wrestler or it's an on-screen talent like an interviewer or commentator, they test positive for COVID and it's more than just a low risk, they're gonna have to shut it down. No questions asked. I don't care if Vince plays God. It's gonna be like a Rudy Gobert situation, and they would have to shut it down. They have to shut it the fuck down. But I don't know. I think I do like this schedule a little bit more. It gives them time to like. At least they don't have to fly out every single week. They would have to fly out. Let me see here. One episode of Raw taped for that night. One episode of SmackDown. One episode. So they would still have to fly. So every 2 weeks, they'd have to tape stuff like on a consistent basis. But then after that, like for like 2 weeks, they have a vacation. So here, let me show you guys my screen. I can better so you guys get a better visual aid of it. So after this period, they get 2 weeks. Talent gets 2 weeks off. So this I feel like this would somewhat work. This would somewhat work, and it would give talent like deserved time to spend time with their families and recollect themselves and keep themselves healthy, you know? Okay. I think that's all I had to say about that. Other than, I will say this to close off. I do hope that the wrestlers that got cut, they bounce back on their feet, you know? They bounce back on their feet, like, once this is all said and done. It's not going to be easy. But, you know, my thoughts and prayers go out to everyone that was infected by the WWE and Vince McMahon's, like, wrongdoings and all. And again, I'm just severely disappointed by WWE, like what they just decided to do on Wednesday. Again, one of the worst days in pro wrestling because, like, the talent that got cut, they got cut at the wrong time. I do want to show you guys, like, one video from before we sign off here. It was by Drake Maverick, if I can find it here. Let's see if I can find it. Ah, here it is. Alright, here it is. So we got a video from Drake Maverick, and this video was really touching, you know? It's like, you gotta feel for the guy. So we'll take a quick look at it.
Everybody else, where I probably didn't take this as seriously as it is at the beginning, but it's affecting people's lives, it's affecting people's jobs, it's affecting the way people make a living. I'm very fortunate that WWE is still allowing me to compete in the NXT interim cruiserweight.
That's another positive thing about WWE, at least in this light. They allowed. It's like they didn't straight outright cut Maverick. He, granted, like most of these talents didn't do anything on like when they were after they were signed with WWE. But the fact that WWE still allowed him to compete in the tournament, it shows that they really want him, like, to go out at least in glory, like at least one more match in WWE. Now, I really hope that he showcases his wrestling ability, because Drake Maverick didn't wrestle too much in WWE. He was mostly a manager, and he was mostly involved in the 24/7 title. But I really hope he uses this opportunity to showcase what he was before he signed with WWE.
Title tournament, but it's very likely that those will be the last matches I ever have. There's a lot of people I'm not going to get a chance to say goodbye to that I really loved, that I really cared about. It made me a better person. And again, I'm very fortunate that I still get that. Other people won't get that. But if these are the last three matches I have, I just want everybody watching at home to know that you'll have my all. You'll have everything. It's not about a title anymore. It's about my life. It's about feeding my family, paying my bills. So if I don't make an impression, if I don't win, that's it for me. So I just want everybody to know that you're all going to get everything I have.
I just, yeah, I feel really bad for not just him, but for all the people involved, because you're not gonna see like everyone, even though it's like you don't get TV time, you don't get the spot you wish you want on WWE TV or like any wrestling organization in general. It's the connections you make backstage, like the friends you make, the relationships, and they mean something. They mean a lot to you, like, and have that ripped away, like, just like that. It really sucks. It really sucks to see what they're going through. But I really don't know what else to say. It's like, again, my thoughts, my prayers. I know that all of you will recover. I hope you do. And I know it's not going to be easy. But you know that you guys and gals remain in everyone's hearts during what was one of the worst days in professional wrestling, and perhaps one of the worst periods in all professional wrestling that there ever is in life. But anyway, guys, I'm gonna get out of here. This was too much. This week was too much to handle, and even when we're in a pandemic, I hope that I don't have to experience it again. because it was just too depressing. This was too much. But anyway, guys, I'm gonna hop on out of here. Let me know what you all think about this week's Dylan Lasagna Live. Hopefully it doesn't get taken down by a certain Mrs. Lou because I simply just talked about her, but I just had to get my 2 cents about that situation. I hope that her actions don't completely destroy the platform that YouTube is currently in. I mean, it's already on a freaking downward spiral. We don't need another creator's actions by false flagging, false reporting, abusing the copyright system, and all that. We don't need another creator's bad actions destroying the platform again. But anyway, other than that, again, support all these released wrestlers any way you can. Send them love, send them your support, any way you can. But in this point in time, you just can't feel but disappointed towards WWE and what they did, and how they're deemed essential during this time is beyond me. And don't give me that, AEW is working too. They tape their shit. They're doing what WWE should have been doing a long time ago. They're airing their content that they taped months ago, and now WWE's just doing that. I don't know. I really don't know how to feel about WWE right now. It's very disappointing. It's very disappointing. But anyway, guys, I'm gonna hop on out of here. Thank you all for watching, and I'm sorry that this live stream podcast got dislike bombed the hell out of it. Again, I think it has to do with that one guy that freaking spammed the hell out of my chat. In case you guys are watching the replay, in case you didn't know, I freaking got I'm getting dislike bombed because there's some random dude in the chat that freaking had multiple accounts and started spamming my chat, and apparently also got to the dislike bar too, and started mass disliking the stream. So I do apologize if that happened. If you see a massive dislike ratio, I do think that it's not because of what I said on stream, but it's because some dude used multiple accounts to dislike bomb the stream. But anyway, everyone, I'm gonna get out of here. Hopefully next week will be a much better week. Even though we're all in quarantine still, but eventually we're gonna get out of this, and then we're slowly but surely gonna get back to normal. It's not gonna be right away, but we're gonna go back to our normal lives slowly but surely. But anyway, everyone, make sure you like the stream. Don't be that one dude that spammed the chat and dislike bombed it with his multiple accounts. Make sure you like the stream. Make sure, if you're not already, subscribe and tap the bell so you're notified of all my live stream podcasts. We do this every Friday at 4:30 Pacific. And make sure you're also looking out for my other content too as well. Trying to get back into that. I always say that, but I really want to get back into edited content. But anyway, everyone, take care and always be delicious. And I will see you all next week and next time. Take care, everyone.